the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go to the roll call, please.
Mr. Alt?
Here.
Mr. Beistel?
Here.
Mr. Benz?
Here.
Dr. Pike?
Here.
Mrs. Kaufman? Here. Mrs. Love? Here. Mr. Polakowski?
Here.
Mrs. Rhodes? Here. Mr. Miller?
Present here. And thank you for everyone showing up at the short notice here tonight. And I would entertain a motion for executive session on the personnel. Here one.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Kaufman.
Second.
Second, Ms. Rhodes. All in favor, say aye.
Question on the motion, Levi.
Was it?
Question on the motion.
Okay.
Question on the motion. Levi, I'm with you for the executive session, but I'm very concerned about I think we're violating the Sunshine Law. I think we did before, and I'm very concerned about what's going to happen when we go back there for an executive session. I had a friend, an attorney, a man who said to me, be very careful about these executive sessions. They are only for very, very, very specific things. And Levi, one of them is not finance.
Okay.
And I brought this up before. So I feel that the public has the right to know why we're going into that executive session so that we don't violate the Sunshine Law and discuss finance back there.
Thank you very much. This is strictly personal. Then let us move to citizen comments. Or any citizen?
There are no comment cards this evening.
Okay. Then we'll move to Cipher and Cipher agenda firm and any comments that you have.
It's recommended that the board engage the services of the accounting firm of Cipher and Cipher of Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, per the terms of their letter of engagement, to assess the account balances included in the accounting records of the Southmoreland School District for accuracy, prepare journal entries to adjust account balances to their properly stated amount, and to prepare the Southmoreland School District's annual financial report. Fees for these services will range from $85 to $150 per hour, depending upon the staff member who is performing the services. Additional costs will include out-of-pocket travel expenses billed at the standard IRS mileage rate and a flat $2,500 fee for the preparation of the annual financial report. The estimated total cost of the project is approximately $12,800.
And do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion is made by Ms. Kaufman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Polakowski. Discussion or questions?
Yes, I think that when you state that it's going to cost $12,800, you're not including the fact that we are being fined, assessed a fine of $300 a day, which could easily take this up to like an $18,000 fee. In addition, we're paying the salary of the business manager at the same time that we're hiring somebody else to do this job. So I think that, you know, in all fairness, we need to be very clear that this $12,800 does not really reflect the true cost of what's going to be done here.
$12,800 is the fee for the accounting firm.
Well, from them, but there are other costs incurred here that I think are not being, we're not being honest about.
Okay. Other comments or questions? And I'm going to call for the roll.
Mr. Alt?
Yes.
Mr. Beistel?
Yes.
Mr. Benz?
Yes.
Dr. Pike?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaufman? Yes. Mrs. Love? Yes. Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes, and that passes 9-0.
Can I ask a question about this letter? It says that our invoices will be rendered each month as work progresses. Is that going to apply to us each month?
No, the project, I think this is more or less a form letter. This is an hourly engagement, and the expectation is that they will be finished no later than December 21st. So we would receive one invoice during the month of December or January, whenever it comes.
I think because of this problem, I would like to make a motion that we hire a firm, not the one we have, to do an audit of our finances in conjunction with this report. I think we need an audit from an outside source, a third source, not the one we have now, because that's just auditing, you're an auditing, which is auditing, you're an auditing. But I would like to make a motion that we hire a firm, or that the administration, I'll say, look into a firm and come back and give us options as to getting an audit done to find out, to dig deeper into the issues of this particular problem.
So I understand your motion is for them to look at an audit.
To find us audits.
If I may suggest in that motion that it be someone other
than
the one that has
the
done
one
it
for
the
30
past
years or
whatever
whatever it
years.
is, yeah. Because
That is your motion?
That's why I said he's auditing, his own auditing, his own auditing, his own auditing. A third party, a brand new party to come in. I would ask the administration to look into that, because I think we need an audit to follow this.
Ask for clarification.
Sure. Go ahead.
I've asked the president if I could ask for clarification for which fiscal year? 11-12 or 12?
I think we have to do 11-12 first, because that's where the problem is.
11-12 is due by December 31st. I don't think you
Is
have
it, David?
time
Is
to-
it? I didn't know that.
What is due by December 31st?
The audit.
Our audit.
Well, we have a contract with our current auditor.
It usually does it the
to
first
do
week
the
of
audit
December.
for purposes of the state. What you're asking for is an additional audit on top of
An
that. Is
outside-
that my understanding?
Why does
So,
he have to come, Jack? Can't we just tell him not to come?
We have a contract with him.
Well, can we wait and see what his reading or his results are, and then,
I can tell you what they're going to be, Josie. He's
well,
auditing himself.
Okay, let's, there's a motion here that the administration must look at it. Were you going to second that, or not trying to push?
Are we including a year in that? 11-12?
Mm-hmm. Because that's where this problem is.
Well, I'll second the motion because I've always said all along that I think we need an outside audit to put all of our minds at ease so that we can go forward and solve our problems, knowing that we don't have any skeletons in the closet. So for that reason, I will second that motion.
Just to clarify, since if this passes, I will be tasked with this. Are you including the company that we're engaging this evening as a candidate to
You
do
would
that
come
audit?
back to us with recommendations,
Well,
Jack.
what I'm asking you is it worth my time to look at this, or do you want a third
Of course you
company
could,
on
of
top
course,
it?
of
Okay.
course,
Absolutely.
because we want three. I would say three is a fair amount, three outside auditors, talk to them and see what they will do for us. This company might come in even at a lower rate because they've done work.
Right.
I mean, there's not a problem.
Okay.
you know,
To be
for them.
clear, Mr. Stiver would still do his audit,
Oh, yeah, we'll get
and you're
it.
going to ask for another audit on top of that. Okay.
And if I might add something, and when he comes back, then we'll make the decision as to whether we want to do that audit.
This is not going to be a decision to hire someone.
No,
This is
it's
just a
have them back to
recommendation.
us
Tell
and
us who's
what's
available at
available,
what price and what they'll do for
what
us.
they will do for us for the year 11-12.
Okay, other comments, questions?
Question on the motion, just so I know how I want to vote.
Sure.
How was this meeting advertised? Because I don't want to vote on a motion when it wasn't on the advertisement. Was it voted just to vote on this particular
No,
item?
it was advertised as conduct business of the district.
Okay, well, I didn't want to,
Good, good, thanks for the clarification. I have a comment on this. I think this is brought here in the sense that this district has not been run at a very high level financially during the past 26 years. I happen to, from every evidence that I have been able to see under Mr. Bill Porter's leadership, he has been the gold standard of business managers. And I think our audits have been clean. The state has checked into, and including one or two members of this board in the, made attempts, I think ill-advised attempts, to discredit the business manager's office, has come out a gold standard clean. That's the way I viewed it. I'm going to vote no on this because I believe we're going from a strong position from here in the future. Yes, we're going to have to take another look at it. But I want to see us move ahead where we are right now. That's all I have to say.
Just in rebuttal to that, since I'm one of those two, you can name me by name. I have no problems with that, Levi. I don't think anybody has yet to be cleared of anything. Let me just leave it at that.
The year that's in question, all the recording was done on Mr. Porter's time?
No.
No, actually,
Mr.
11/12 is Mr. Salem.
Mr. Salem is 11/12.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not on Bill Porter.
Yeah, this is not about Mr. Porter.
Okay. Anybody else?
This is just to find out who the 3 people are and how much it's going to cost. Recommendation.
We already have an auditor.
Oh, yeah.
We have an auditor for this year, so it's taken care of for this year.
So why do we have to look at it now? Why can't we go through this process and then look at it? I think you're kind of putting the cart before the horse here.
Well,
No.
Gil, I think one of the reasons why is because we've become so commonplace that we're now in the situation we are in now. You know, we've let the same people do the same thing over and over again. That's not to say that they are not 100% correct, Gil. But I think it's time we take a look. Let somebody else tell us. That's all I'm asking.
There's a very good chance that they're going to say everything's perfect. Then we know where we stand.
We already know where we stand.
No,
I don't think we did.
here's where we stand, right here. We're here tonight.
Does anyone else have any comments? Then I'm going to call the vote here.
Mr. Beistel?
Yes.
Mr. Benz?
No.
Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaufman?
Yes.
Mrs. Love?
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes?
No.
Mr. Alt?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
No, and that passes 5-4. I'm sorry. You're exactly right. 6-3. 6-3 is the vote. So our superintendent will look into that.
Was math your strong suit, Levi?
How's that?
Was math your strong suit?
Okay. A few notes here. If you have, we're going to arrange seating here in the for the next year and the changes. If any of you have any suggestions on seating, let Dr. Molnar know, and we will try to make any accommodations. One other one I just noted, if you have any committees that you especially are interested or serving another term in it, the committees will be of the board as a whole. Feel free to let me know on that. And finally here, the conference, we are finalists here in this national, it's the National Principals. Okay, I'm going to look
National
to Dr.
Association
Scott.
of Secondary School Principals.
Okay.
We are award winners at the middle school. And as a result of that, some members of our staff, our administration, and hopefully a couple of board members will be able to attend the conference in Washington, D.C., where the award will be presented. And that will happen the last of February, 1st of March. I believe we would leave here February 27th and return on March 2nd. Is that the dates I gave you, sir?
Right, February 28th to March 2.
So we would like to have a couple of board members represent the district as well, if that's at all possible. So if you're interested, please discuss that with Mr. Miller.
Good. Good. Could I, citizens comment?
I appreciate the time. You can start the 5-minute clock. If I run over, just tell me, I'll stop. Walking in, I noticed 9 words hung up there in the hallway, and they're all around here. Honesty, responsibility, integrity, fairness, respect, enthusiasm, citizenship, compassion. The first one, honesty, always tells the truth, is sincere, is forthright and candid, is not sneaky, tricky, or deceptive. And the other ones are pretty self-explanatory as you read them. I suggest you all take a look at that and read them because they mean something. This just blows me away that we have to go to an outside source and try to balance the account, adjust the account balances properly. And you know, you have an estimated amount here of $12,800. Now, I sat in here a few weeks ago or another month, but I've been listening for 18 months. And there's 2 board members, Dr. Fike and Ken Alt, that I have not always agreed with of their approach. Catherine Fike, I've never really always agreed with her figures, but for 18 months, there has been nothing but battling to keep her quiet about something is wrong. This here special meeting to come down to the end of the year tells everybody, and you should be telling everybody and be honest about it, forthright, that there's a problem that hasn't been addressed for 18 months. And if you can all sit there and say that everything's okay, go ahead. But someday your names are going to be on a problem, if there is a problem. I hope there isn't, because there's concerned citizens out there that I don't know where they've been lately, but there's years ago they was all concerned about tax increases, and 10 mil increase covers $1 million. And if you're already $1.7 million, 10 mil isn't going to cut it. We've all heard talk about the state taking over. When they take over, so 25 mil, 30 mil, whatever it takes. There won't be a board because they just demolished the board, handed it over to the administration, raised the taxes, and there's nothing that can be done about it for 5 years. So all I'm saying is it's quite apparent there's a problem. And whether you agree with these 2 or not, this is on TV. Everybody watches it. Everybody watches every month the chaos that goes on. So I'm just saying that I'm kind of disappointed to have to listen and know as a citizen and a taxpayer that something's wrong, someone knows something, and someone ain't saying something. But as far as the gold standard of Mr. Porter, those days are gone. I remember whenever there was discussion about we're going to have a citizen, a public meeting, and have input from the citizens of how to spend the money. Where'd that go? You know, it's like half of you don't even want to hear it, don't want to deal with it. You put your head in the sand, and this is what happens. So you just can sit there and tell me that everything's fine, but I see a problem when we got to take an unexpected $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 out of money we don't have to get somebody to come in and figure out how much money we do have. But you already spent money for the next 5 years. You probably don't even have any idea how much you spent on addition to what we can't afford. So the days of an endless fund balance are obviously gone, and this should have been addressed 18 months ago. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Well, I have something I want to talk about, Levi.
Okay, you want to say something?
Okay. At the last meeting, we had the man come in and talk about the bond issue, refinancing. And Mr. Alt asked a very important question. He said, just where did this rating come from? And the man was very nice, and he said, I will make sure you get it. And I think the next day or the day after, it was in my hands. So I read it over very carefully. You know, that bitch from Roughdale does read this stuff. And so I got on the phone, and at great expense, I finally got to the actual author of this report. Her name is Valentina Clark. She's now Valentina Clark Gomez, who was the person who did this report. And I asked her a number of questions that I think are very serious and should be discussed here. First of all, I asked her why we have 2 ratings. And I did ask her, I told her, I'm not very smart. Speak to me in words that I can understand. And I found out that the first rating is what they give you if you don't buy the insurance, and the second rating is what they give you if you do pay the $65,000 for insurance. So I found that out. It also says that the sale is $10 million in bonds. I asked what the Moody outlook, and it says NOO, which means there is no outlook. Okay. So then in the next paragraph, I asked her about this enhanced rating, and the A3 is negative. And she told me that in Pennsylvania, our rating is hooked on to the state's rating. It's hooked on. But the big thing that I couldn't understand is if you go almost to the third line from the bottom, it says that our bonds are currently $8.1 million. And I asked her if she could explain the difference between why we were refunding, I guess I use the word refunding, $10 million in bonds, and it says that they were going to issue $8 million. So then I went to the next page, and it says in there, in the latter part of the second paragraph, management does not have plans to spend down the fund balance. Then she pulled up a copy of our budget, and she said to me, spent $2 million in that year, $2 million this year, another year. She says, looks like that fund balance is going down. Then I asked her about the next line, and it says, quote, the primary revenue source for the district is state aid, 48.9%, followed by local taxes. And I said to her, our aid ratio is 0.6425, right? 0.6425. I said, Valentina, did you hit the fund balance key on the computer for the state? She said, no. Then further down at the end of this small stable tax space, it says our full value per capita is $51,608. I said, Valentina, we have information that our per capita income is $19,000 some in this school district. And she said, capital income is not capital value. So what they do, Josie, they take the value of your house and divide it by a whole bunch and add that to you, and that's what you're worth. And I said to her, houses don't pay taxes, people pay taxes, right? Apparently this is some kind of a trick. And my question is, how could she be rating us on a 48.9% aid ratio when it's 64? Then I asked her about our debt management, and she said, the debt service, and she said it's above average and it's not good when you compare us to other people. So then on the third page I said, it says payout principal 10 years. And what that means, and I really understand this now, there's a number there that says 53%. It said that in the next 10 years we will only pay out 53% of our principal because our what do you want to say, our debt service, our mortgage goes until 2029. Then I asked the big question. I said, well, you're going to do another one because now they're going to do another $10 million in bonds. And she said, yes. And I said, that's what we pay you the $10,500 for. So these were questions that she couldn't answer why one figure's 10 million, one's 8.1. She did did her best to explain this stuff. This is heavy stuff, guys. It's heavy stuff. But this is what I did with that paper when it came in the mail. Thank you, Ken, for asking for that, because it really puzzled me as to what's going on with this whole deal.
I can answer one of them.
We need to look at that.
Okay, then we're going to adjourn. Yeah, go ahead.
It's not to exceed 10 million.
Okay, it says.
I mean, that's what this resolution will be, not to exceed 10 million.
Bond proceeds, this is the old one. This is the one we did before. Bond proceeds will refund the District Series 2005 bonds currently in the amount of $8.1 million. That's what it says, David. I didn't make it up. But up here it says sale amount $10 million. I'm just not smart enough to know the difference, and she couldn't really explain that one to me. I just read the report.
Part of the agenda in January. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Rhodes. Is there a second? Ken Alt. Mr. Alt seconds it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Very good evening.
Thank you, folks.